I didn't envisage that I was going to do tech. Yeah, I was just scrambling around stuff, and then I found something that I really liked, and then I decided to follow it through and through.
All right, so hi everyone. Welcome to today's session. So today we'll be talking to someone I have known for a while now. His name is Anderson. I'm going to let him introduce himself and just talk to us. It's for us to discuss and about our transitions and how it has been, and some other interesting stuff. So stay glued, stay connected. So over to you, Anderson. Tell us a bit about
Uh,
yourself.
cool. My name is Obinna Anderson Asiegbulam. I'm a software engineer, and I studied mechanical engineering from the prestigious University of Port Harcourt. Uh, for the past 4 years, I've been in active programming, and I've had people ask me a lot of questions about transitioning from core engineering, mechanical engineering to tech. But one thing I keep telling people is you just have to find yourself. At some point in my life, I found myself and I realized that there's a path that I needed to take. And more than ever, I was very motivated to take that path, right? My major tech stack is .NET. Um, you probably will see me a lot more often because I'm trying to put all the resources I have together to ensure that people who are like me, that are unsure of where they are, or they are somewhere at the point of their life, but they are not really happy with what they are doing currently, and they feel like they need to do more. My purpose. I feel like one of my greatest purpose in life is to help people discover themselves and help them make that transition they need into where they want to be. I'm very happy to be here, and thank you, Wilson, for availing me the opportunity to be in your podcast.
Good to have you join us. Yeah, so transitioning, you studied mechanical engineering and today you're it's a software engineer. Did you envisage this at the time you were graduating from the university? Was it
Well,
something you
funny
felt
enough,
would have happened? Yeah.
Funny enough, I didn't even see myself studying mechanical engineering in school. When I got into final year, everybody was choosing the parts, they were doing whether fluid mechanics or they're going into production. I wasn't sure. I actually picked one elective in every of these fields, and then I just did it. Then after
Mm.
school, I saw myself into drafting, and at some point, I wanted to make the most out of myself, and I'm trying to push myself away from drafting to become mechanical engineering. But then again, I found tech, right? I did something that I built based on the frustration that I get from my work. I was able to build a software product, and that was when I found what I loved. But I didn't envisage that I was going to do tech. Yeah, I was just scrambling around stuff, and then I found something that I really liked, and then I decided to follow it through and through.
Oh, good. What a nice transition. So, first of all, you started with something you were not particularly interested in, and
Exactly.
eventually just navigating through life here and there, and now you found something. So, the question is now you're in software engineering. I guess the reason why people move sometimes is because they want to find that purpose, they want to find value, or they want to be
Mhm.
valuable. What would you say is your current state now? Are you finding that fulfillment in being a software engineer, or do you even find yourself in a phase where you still haven't found what you're looking for, and probably you'll need to transition sometime in the future again?
Currently, I think that I'm at the point in my life where I'm very, very satisfied about what I'm doing. I have love for what I'm doing. I feel like I'm currently at the right place. But I also know that at some point in my life, I don't want to. I also know that in the next 5, 10 years, I don't want to be writing code, right? I know
Mhm.
that I want to own a business and I want to see it grow, right? But currently, I believe I'm in the right place. I like to think that I'm impacting life, I'm creating value with tech, and I'm very comfortable where I am currently.
Okay. One thing we also find a lot of people struggling with is the courage to do something different, right? For most of us, the way we grew up is, oh, there is this general profession that it seems those who are smart go for, right? And most times people end up doing things they don't really like, only to graduate and realize that this is not what I want for myself. One major element that I feel is missing, but we'll get to that, is the courage to actually go the other way. Yes, I studied this. Yes, I have a certificate here. I have a degree. But I want to really do what I love. The question is, how do you find that courage? Did you also struggle to move away from what your certificate or what you had a degree in to something else? And what would you tell someone who is probably considering moving from a drafts person in, say, AutoCAD and some other tools you were using to core software engineering?
Okay, so I'm going to answer this question as a Nigerian.
Okay.
The reason I'm going to answer this question as a Nigerian is because the society where I find myself, the current situation of Nigeria would not give people enough encouragement to drop what they're doing currently and pursue a career they are not very certain about. The whole COVID situation gave me an opportunity for me to fully transition, because for close to 9 or 10 months, I could work from the comfort of my home. So I had a lot of time to do stuff. Being a drafts person at my previous job requires that I had to do certain design. I had to go to sites, and I had to take some kind of measurement. I had to provide drawings and do some kind of documentation. But because of coronavirus, work was very, very slow. So I had a lot of opportunity in my hand, and I decided to utilize it and learn programming proper, right? And by the time people were now moving back to the office, I was confident enough to know that if I decide to plunge into software engineering, I will not be starting as a complete novice, right? And one of the things that helped me make that decision was I looked at the current, I looked at my salary at the moment, and I did the projection. I told myself that if I decide to save what I was earning currently for the next 10 months or 1 year, I would not earn, if I decided not to touch any part of it, I would not earn $1 million. And then I projected that if I study software engineering for the next 2 years and I get a job, right? And I gave myself a benchmark of $250K a month. That was the benchmark I gave myself. I felt like in the next 10 months, again, I'll be earning 2.5 million, right? And I asked myself, well, what is it going to take? What is the most that can happen? I'm going to suffer for 10 months. I'm going to suffer for 6 months. I'm going to suffer for 8 months. And look at my current situation. I felt like I was already suffering enough. And that gave me enough motivation to move, right? And there are people that don't have to go through this stress. There are people who come from privileged families where they have people that can support them for the duration of their transition. So again, I don't like to say that people should either do or should not do it. You look at your current situation and look at the resources you have around you, and then you make that decision by simply asking yourself certain questions. At the time I made that decision, I wasn't looking at my current situation. I was looking at, okay, where do I want to be 3 years from now? Where do I want to be 2 years from now? If I do what I'm doing currently for the next 1 year, am I going to be happy in a year time? It was a very easy decision for me to make, because I believe I wasn't going to be happy for the next 1 year. Of course, I've been doing this job for the past 3 years, and I look at my savings, I look at the resources available to me, and I looked at my career progression, and I didn't see myself getting any better. So it was a very easy decision for me to make. There are people who are not doing so bad in their current job. There are people who are probably earning 250K and they're very, very comfortable. Then again, if you ask them to make that change, the motivation is not there. Right? So I believe that people who have strong ambition, they have a very strong will. It is, although the decision will be tough, but making the decision itself will not be tough, because they have foresight. There's somewhere they want to be. All right. So that's what I think, honestly.
Oh, good. So from what I can hear, resources available, your background, also checking the pros and cons, right? I'm doing this now. If I transition, okay, what is the worst that can happen? And all of that guided your decision making. No, good. Um, Now going to another question. Now, one thing as well that people say is, I want to move from this um, current job to another. I want to transition, but I don't know where to start. Most times it's like there are so many things, there are so many places you can start. Um,
Mm,
there are so many materials out there as well for people to use, but that curation of this is step A, step B, step C to go through to
mm,
become to effectively transition. I don't know, were you at that point at any time where you were not sure, you just knew you wanted to move, right?
mm,
But where to start from? Was there any
mm.
point during your transition where that confusion was there? And how did you effectively start your transition?
So what I would say to encourage people that want to transition is information gathering. It's very
Mhm.
important. Don't look at people and thinking you want to do what they're doing. Gather information. If possible, get people that get to talk to people that are doing tech and hear their story, right? Hear their frustration, hear what is involved, so that you can make an informed decision. Because a lot of the time people are just fascinated about what they can achieve if they're doing tech, but they don't really know the struggle. But I could see their frustration. I could see there are times when they had challenges and then it took them weeks to fix it. And I could see the
So,
excitement when they finally solved the problem. So I could already share their frustration. I knew what I was setting myself up for, and I was ready for it. All right. So it wasn't a very difficult situation. I had an opportunity to be with tech bros. I had an opportunity to be with friends that are doing the things that I wanted to do. So it was very easy for me to just transition and make that decision.
okay. Did you attend any form of formal classes when you were going through the whole journey? Did you need to get certifications? Did you need to on projects together with people? Any stories around that?
Yeah, so for like a year or two, I was doing stuff on my own. But the more I did stuff on my own, the more confused I got. Right?
Okay.
Because as much as I had these people around me, but there was really nobody that was holding my hands and telling me learn this, learn this, learn that. They were very busy people, right? I was going to YouTube, I was just trying to gather information, but out there, the amount of information available to me was so overwhelming that it was very easy for me to. At some point, I was switching from data science to web development, and I wasn't sure. So I decided that I'll go into structured learning. So
Okay.
I heard of Decagon, and I got into Decagon. Right. For 4 months, I was in a confined learning environment where the only thing people talked about was tech. And I had a curriculum I was following. I have tasks I was doing. So I went to software engineering training school, software development training
Okay.
school. I got through the program. I had the opportunity to work on real life projects. I have opportunity to intern with companies that are building real life solutions, and that helped me. But before I made that decision to transition, I built a product on my own. I worked on a real life product. I saw the product come to life locally, even if it didn't go
Wow.
live, but I saw it come to
Mhm.
life locally. And it gave me a lot of motivation to want to continue. Right. So
Okay.
that was how I made that decision.
No, good. And I like the fact that you started off, but at the end, you also went through a formal learning because, just like you said, I think there are so many things out there, and having a structured learning path helps you to quickly move towards a particular direction. So I
Yeah.
can resonate with what you're saying.
Yeah.
Now, I think one of the things people will always ask is, now you've transitioned, will you say the knowledge gained while you studied mechanical engineering or worked as an engineer for a while. Are you using some of that knowledge in one way or the other? Are there analogies that you can draw from? Okay, this was how it worked in this field. If I try to re-engineer that method, I can use that way of thinking in my software engineering. In quote is the things you learned back then, are they playing a role one way or the other in what you're doing right now?
Um, I think that the most important aspect of learning engineering was the fact that there was a feeling that engineering was difficult, and there was a discipline that came with learning engineering.
Yeah.
Right. That discipline was looking at a problem and trying to solve the problem in your head before actually writing it on paper. Imagining the problem, and like for instance, if a physical problem, I'm solving a physics problem, right?
Yeah.
Before I jump into writing a formula and solving it, right? If I don't understand the science behind the physics,
Yeah.
it was very difficult for me to understand what I was doing, right? So coming into software engineering, I carried that thing for me, right? I carried that discipline. I had to imagine the problem, and then I had to try to solve the problem. I've seen people say that, oh, I didn't do sciences in school, I did art. So for that reason, I think that jumping into software development or software engineering will be difficult for me. Yeah, maybe that is correct. Maybe you will not be as efficient, or it's probably not be as easy as someone that did engineering or did sciences in school. But if you really did art in school and there was a discipline that came along trying to make sure that you get stuff done, that discipline will drive you in. It will probably not be easy from the start, but the discipline you already have in you to sit down, study, and get stuff done is going to help you transition, right? For me, it was not so difficult because already I loved mathematics. I thought I knew mathematics, right? And then there's mathematics in computer science, right? There's physics in computer science. There's chemistry in computer science. Maybe not directly, but the point is there's a problem that you can really relate to something that you feel around you, right? Yeah. And then you can apply the same discipline to solving those problems. You can make problem to feel like an object that you can relate with, and then you can decide to apply some kind of laws to solve those problems. I think that the major drawing point for me is the discipline that came with doing engineering in Uniport, right? I believe that in school there are a lot of people that were very much intelligent than me, but they were not as their grades were not as good as my grade, because I was able to develop some kind of discipline, and that discipline was something I've carried along with me in life. When I was really practicing mechanical engineering, I was disciplined enough to learn drafting. I didn't learn drafting in school, right? It took me like 6 months to do drafting courses, to learn the best principles in drafting, to go to site, know some of the things to look out for when I go to site, and then I legit did courses in design drafting. I knew that if I go to site and then I took measurements, I knew that I need to at least prepare the drawing within 2 days, otherwise I'm going to forget everything I did inside. Right? Yeah. And that discipline that I carried, I brought it down to software development, right? And then that discipline is something that has been carrying me throughout my life. So if you weren't disciplined in school, or if you have not been disciplined in every other part of your career, transitioning in tech will not make life easier for you. You need that discipline as well.
I like that. No, I like that. Very, very true. Okay, so we're wrapping up with this session, and just one question. If someone is standing next to you now and comes to you and say, Anderson, I want to transition from a mechanical engineer or a draft person to a software developer, a software engineer, what is that one thing you will let the person know just to prepare the person for what is ahead? What is that one point? I know there are so many things, but let's say one piece of advice you can give to that person. What will it be?
I think I will only ask the person a question. The question I ask the person is why. I want to know why they want to do it. Right? Personally, I think that any reason you give to me for trying to transition from engineering to tech should be valid.
Okay.
If I think the reason is not valid, so if you tell me the reason is because of money, I think it's a very valid reason. Okay. If you don't like your current financial situation and you think that transitioning to tech will help you to get into a better financial situation, I think that's a valid reason. If you look at your current situation in life and said, oh, I don't like where I am. I want to make more money, and I think tech will give me more money. Because at the end of the day, when things are not working, because when you move into tech and then you get frustrated, you need to remember the reason you try to get into tech. So you ask yourself that question: have I really moved out of poverty? No, I haven't moved out of poverty. So I have to solve this problem. Otherwise, I'm going to remain in poverty. You know what I'm saying? The reason is that you love writing code. It's another good reason, because if you're in tech, you have opportunity to write code. The reason is that you love solving complex problems. If you're in tech, you have an opportunity to solve complex problems. So the question is, why do you want to do what you want to do? So if you realize the why, that why is what is going to carry you along when things are not working for you. Because I promise you, I've had situations where I've been faced with challenges that frustrated me. Right? I've been faced with situations that frustrated me. And as much as my financial situation was part of the reasons that made me switch, right? I didn't think I was valued enough at my previous job. I put in the work.
Okay.
In fact, I was able to move my company from doing mere designs to doing industry standard designs. I moved up because when I came in, I saw the drawings of the design that people were doing, right? Or the previous person was doing, and it was very basic. It's okay, it was trash. It was really trash because it was not innovative at all. I moved them from doing trash to doing standard stuff. I moved on to the point where I could send out drawings and people on site would use my drawings to do full-time construction without me being there. Right? So there was love for what I was doing at the point, but I didn't feel seen. Right? I didn't think that I didn't feel like I was placing value. One of the most important things in my life is doing something that is valuable, something that people will appreciate. And I feel like if I have an app that will make it very easy for you to do some kind of financial transaction, that will add value to your life, right? So the aim of adding value to people's life was part of the reason why I started to transition into tech. And being into tech gives me an opportunity to build product that people will use. And if I see people using the product that I'm building, there's joy, there's satisfaction that comes from me. Right?
Yeah.
And these are the reasons why I'm doing what I'm doing, and I enjoy it. So I'm going to ask the person a very simple question: why do you want to transition? And then I'm going to encourage them, because I feel like the why is very important, because when things are not working for you, it is the why you move into it that will help you to stay and not to just fall out of it.
All right. So thank you so much, Anderson. Thank you for sharing your transition journey and telling people what they should look out for. Truly nice to have you join us for this session, and we look forward to probably the apps you get to build. I know recently you just confounded a startup. Maybe you want to say something about it quickly before we call it today.
Exactly. I'm always happy to talk about those CoPilots, right? When people advance to certain level in their career, learning becomes a problem.
Yeah.
Right? They become very, very comfortable. The growth curve begins to steepen. So what we're trying to do at Growth CoPilot is inform people of the danger of not advancing in their career, of not learning something new. Give them an opportunity to continuously learn, so that when they face those situations in their life, or they hit those points in their career when it feels like things are not working, they don't feel left out. They don't feel like technology have moved past them. They are continuously informed, so it's very easy for them to get something doing. So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to build a culture or a society, or we're trying to build a community of people that embraces learning, continuously learning. We also know that when you start working, things become very, very, you have a lot of engagement. So self-learning becomes a problem. So we are doing instructor-led courses where you will have a one-on-one with your tutor that will look out for you, right? That will constantly, you have reminders that constantly remind you of things that you need to learn. And then after you learn stuff, you have an opportunity for you to see other stuff that are related to what you have learned, so that you just be at the best in what you're doing. Right? So we're an educational platform. We're trying to foster learning, and we're trying to help people move from being good at what they're doing to being better at what they're doing. That's what we're doing at CoPilots.
No, thank you, and thank you for sharing. I look forward to even collaborating with Group Copilot. Me, I love teaching. So when you told me about it, I was like, this is fantastic. And
Yeah.
maybe during my spare time, I can volunteer to teach and just share the knowledge. We need people to keep growing,
Mhm.
right? That continuous learning path, it can never go wrong. Thank you so much once again, Anderson. Really nice having you on the Growth Blog podcast for this session, and all the best going forward. And hopefully, in a couple of years, you come back again to give us more success stories and things you're doing. So, thank you once again, and yeah, take care.